All right, so it's that time again. It's the end of the year raise, Q4, 90 days to the new year. 2025 is around the corner, the winter arc. Woo, right? Where all you hear online is race to the end, race to the finish. It's still time to achieve your goals. You still have the end of the year. It's a lot of motivation that you hear. And you may be all in because I am. I love 90 days. I love something with a time frame. I love something with a goal. I love Mondays. I love New Year's resolutions. I don't care what anybody has to say. I love new beginnings. But there are often times where I'm all souped up and about 2 weeks in, I fall off. And you may be feeling the same thing too, right? And there may be a few reasons why you are. One, you may be operating off of an old game plan, a vision that no longer applies to you, or a vision that doesn't belong to you. Okay, catch it. Let me tell you. What happens oftentimes is we make this big vision, we make this goal, and we continue to use that vision for our life throughout our entire life or throughout years, and we never check back in with it. We never say, does this still apply to me? Do I still want these things? Like when I was making this vision list, what was going on in my life? What we often do is that we don't go back and we don't revisit that plan and we don't say, does it still apply? Two, something that can happen is that we never ran that vision by God. So you may still want that vision. That may still be your dream for your life, but you've never ran it by God to see if that's for you. Like you could be working so hard towards something, and we know that God gives us the desires of our heart. And Habakkuk 2:2 just says, write the vision down and make it plain, so that it can be read on tablets, and that the vision will eventually come to be. But we know that God loves us too much to give us something that will ruin us. So what can happen is that we're working really hard for a vision, thinking that it's not happening because of something that we're doing, or we're not trying hard enough, or we're not focused enough, or we don't have something to make it come true. And really what's happening is that it's just not for us. We've written a vision that is just not for our lives. And so that's why it's important that anytime you write a vision down, you take it to God first. You take your plans, you take the desires of your heart to God, and you run it by Him to see if it actually is for you, so that you're not working towards something that you actually don't want. What you don't want is to have that vision board, those dreams for your life come true, and you're sitting down one day and realize that everything you ever wanted has happened and you're miserable and living in a hell. Because that can happen too. So you need to be running your vision by God. Number three, is that even your vision? Meaning, are you taking information from social media, from those people around you, from expectations from your culture or your family or whatever environment you live, and have you adapted that and said, okay, this is the vision for my life? And over time, because you've just been in those environments, you've just been inundated with what social media is telling you to do. You've ingested it, and now it's become your reality. You're living actually other people's dreams. One of my best examples of this is like those, the most productive day, and it's getting up at 5 a.m. I do not want to get up at 5 a.m. My luxury life is the fact that I can just wake up on my own. I can wake up on my own. I don't have to set a clock. I've been able to, with nothing but the grace of God, really to have it to where my day probably starts around 9 or 10. Now it goes a little later, but that works for me. But I love the fact that I can wake up at 7 or 7:30. That's a luxury for me. What am I doing up at 5? Because if I wake up at 5, I'm gonna be done everything by 7. And then I'm just walking around earth looking crazy. That's it, just looking crazy. And I've done that before. It's not nice when you're like, hey, you up? And you're like, no, why would I be up? Um, so one thing I'm gonna do, and I do invite you to join me on this, is I'm breaking my end of year into 30-day increments. Today is the 15th of October. I know you're not supposed to do that to like date your videos, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm just learning how to do all of this. So I'm breaking it down into 30-day increments leading to January 15th. And then January 15th, I will set a vision for the whole year. I tend to set my vision a little later than other people because I feel like the holidays are so busy. But right now, between October 15th and November 15th, there's not really anything going on. This is the perfect time for me to do really the first part, my first 30 days of the 90 days, and which is where I really need to be still at. So I'm going to share something with you that is kind of personal. I have not been able to receive, really what I need from the world or spiritual leaders lately, or even churches. I've been visiting a lot of churches trying to find my church home, and it's been very, very difficult for me, way more difficult than what I thought. I still watch a few people online. Like, I love Jerry Flowers. I still watch The Potter's House. I love Sarah Jakes. Elevation is close to me. So I still follow those people and listen to the word, but it's not feeding my spiritual need like it used to. I don't feel 100% full like I used to. Now, mind you, I am no longer a baby in Christ, but I'm not too far from that. I'm probably just a toddler. And I thought, like, girl, you really doing this walk with Christ. You really doing this walk with the Lord, but I haven't been able to receive what I need. And so things are going to be a little different this time around. And I'm gonna be honest, the reason why I haven't received what I need is I actually finally, asking God. And it's so strange how we don't ask God for things. But I finally really submitted myself and said, God, okay, I'm feeling far from you. I'm not receiving the word like I want. I'm not feeling full. And then I realized that He was telling me to learn Him for myself, to learn the word for myself. And I think it's because I'm about to step into a season of my life that I feel like is what God has been preparing me for, and I feel so close to it. I'm really experiencing a lot of chaos of the mind. I'm just experiencing a lot of emotional and mental chaos, I feel like, about my next season now that I'm getting closer to it, right? And this always happens like the moment you get close to something, things start to get crazy. Okay. So and that's what's been happening for me. And I think what God is telling me, and this may be a message for you too, is like, Anthony, you're not going to be able to survive all the beautiful but maybe tough things and new things that are coming up in the new season with this level of faith and this level of spiritual strength. And so I need to strengthen you. So for my 30 days, one of the first things I'm going to be doing is spending time with God. I'm just doing God and me for 30 days. And what that looks like is ensuring that I actually have 15 to 20 minutes a day to spend in the word. I'm also going to be rehearsing some Bible verses. There's something called Versify. I'm going to put it in the link below. So it's an app, and it's going to just help me rehearse those verses, those Bible verses, so that when I do find myself in warfare of the mind, or I do find myself feeling chaotic or down or sad or whatever, I have those verses more readily prepared, instead of saying like, one of the verses I always try to rehearse is do not be anxious for anything, but by all things through prayer and supplication, because that is the will of the Lord and God forever. No, I don't think that's it. And I'm gonna put it right here because I know that's not it. But I know what I'm trying to say. And if I actually rehearse it, I'll have it on hand for the ready. Another thing I'm going to do is read a book every day. And I'm a voracious reader, but I need to change. I'll be reading very random things. And so I'll be reading something that's going to prepare me for the next season of my life. And really this season, this is a book that I've been seeing everywhere. It is called it's by John Mark Comer, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And one thing that Tickety Talk is good for is I love those Christian book recommendations on there. And so this is one of the books that kept coming up if you're trying to strengthen your relationship with God. But anyway, this is one of the books that I'm going to be reading for my first 30 days to help me, because I do feel like I'm in a hurry to get to the next season. I would hate to get to that next season in life, the one I've been waiting for, the one I'm excited for, and not be prepared for what God has for me, not be prepared for the trials. There's still going to be a lot of things that happen that is going to require the new evolved version of ourselves. And so right now, I'm just going to be making sure that when I'm spending time with God every single day, deepening my relationship with God to make sure that I am as spiritually strong as I can be to prepare for all the wonders He has for me. And also the spirit of discernment to make sure that when I step into the new season of life, and I don't forget who God has made me, and I don't forget God. let's just be honest, I just don't forget. Because I think when dreams start to come true, when they start to become actualized, we can actually forget about God in our life, and we can get too busy. And so just to make sure that I've strengthened my relationship with him. Two, to make sure that I'm reading something that applies to where I am now. And so it's just going to help me kind of slow down, because I know that about myself. I can be very much in a hurry. And another reason why I'm going to be reading is because I need to take a step back from social media. I need to take the biggest, imagine those tickety talks that we be seeing, or those Instagram wheels where people are taking the biggest step back, because due to all the things coming up in November, some of the rhetoric that's coming out, just the need to be in a hurry, I can't take it. So I'm going to be taking a drastic step back from social media, and I'm going to be focused on something that speaks to where I am currently in my life. And in three, lose weight. Yes, lose weight. And let me tell you something. As a therapist, as a woman of faith, we get such harsh messages about wanting to lose weight, about wanting to improve our health. And a lot of times what I hear is love yourself as you are. I do. Me loving myself is losing weight. And let me tell you something. I'm going to be even more transparent. God has been telling me to lose weight this whole year. Like I've literally heard that in my spiritual time with God, in my alone time with God. One thing, he's preparing me for the next season. But two, I'm getting a little older, and I do want to be able to experience what he has for me healthy. A lot of times I'm tired. A lot of times I have a weak stomach. I have a weak stomach. So a lot of times if I eat something wrong, I don't feel well. Like, I need to be at my best self. And I'm going to be very honest here. I don't feel as confident. I don't feel as confident as I used to. And I know it's due to my weight. So how can I say I'm going to leap into this next season of life and there's something that I can change that's actually stopping me? It doesn't mean I don't love myself. I love myself. I adore myself. I'm hard on myself, but I do have a deep love for me. And I love myself enough to say it's time. Okay, and so then at the end of this 30 days, I'm going to reevaluate, reassess, and then I'm going to set goals for the next 30 days. And that'll be December 15th. And then I'm going to set goals for the next 30 days. And so I'll just continue to set these goals, and I will be making a video about what I'm learning and how I'm growing. I invite you to do that with me. I'm going to be leaning more into YouTube, because that's what God has been telling me to do since last year. So that's it for today. Join me on the 30 days and we will go from there. I'm excited. I do hope you join me no matter when you see this video.